welcome to Max Level, a show where I review MMOs, give them a rating, and then finally tell you if the game is worth the time and effort to reach max level. My name is Relit, and let's begin. The game I'm reviewing is Terra Rising. Terra was a pay-to-play MMO in Korea that came over to North America about a year after its initial launch. It launched as a pay-to-play game, but as time went on they lost a lot of subscriptions due to no endgame content, which I will get to later in the review. Anyways, the game ended up going free-to-play, which brought a lot of players to the game, including myself. Now on to the game itself. The game has 7 races to choose from. They are the basic human, Castanics, which pretty much are basically evil elves. I mean, look at them. Amon, which are muscly horned beings which were once slaves to giants. The Puporias next, and they are furry creatures that can be anywhere from a badger to a panda to a dog. They are genderless. Next is the Ellen, which is the most disturbing class of all. They are the little girl race. Yeah. They are genderless, and they wear skimpy clothing. I mean, there's not much else to say there. Then we have the Baraka, and they are the big race. Giant sluggish beings, which I never see anyone play. They are also genderless. And finally, the High Elf, which are the good elves. After you pick a race, there is the classes screen. There are 8 different classes, all accessible to all the races. So you'll see Pupori tanks or giant 2-handed axe-wielding Ellens. The classes are the Berserker, the giant 2-handed axe class, great for AoE damage and raids. As for 1v1 PvP, not so much. Next is the Lancer, which is the designated tank class. Definitely a really good pick. Great in PvP, and you can progress super fast through the game because everyone needs a tank for dungeons. The Slayer class is next. This class wields a giant 2-handed sword. Great for PvP and does a lot of DPS. The Warrior wields 2 swords and is a mix between DPS and tank. They can tank if you can't find a Lancer, but they also do damage if you do have a Lancer. The most difficult class to play, they have a lot of gap closing skills that can really put them ahead in PvP. The Sorcerer, who wields a floating disc, performs a lot of AoE damage and good for defend the blank PvP and dungeons. Pretty much anywhere where everyone's grouped together, he can definitely deal out a ton of damage. The Archer, arguably OP in PvP, has lock-on spells that can dismount you at large distances, extremely difficult to get in melee range, and they do very high range DPS. The Priest wields a staff, pretty basic healing spells. If you're experiencing the Priest, they're actually surprisingly good in PvP, have jump back moves, and can heal themselves and can dish out a nice bit of damage. Personally, I've never played the Priest, but they do a lot of healing. Great pick for team battle PvP, guild versus guild, and raids. Everyone needs a healer, and without it, you'll probably lose. The Mystic wields a tiny staff. They can summon thralls, which are Puporias, and they just assist the Mystic in whatever type of thrall they may be. A healing thrall, combat thrall, whatever. Has stuns, and don't be mistaken by a poor little lost mystic so innocently walking through the forest. If you try to PvP him, there is a possibility he will make a fool of you because he has very low cooldown stuns and a teleport jump. Now let's move on to the customization of your unique character. I say that loosely because the customization is pretty limited. For example, the Castanic race have horns, and the horns come bundled with a hair preset. So lightning bolt like horns can only come with a mullet. You might want the horns but not the hair. Well, that's too bad because they are a locked bundle. Now finally we can get on to the gameplay. Let's start with the graphics. Terra is visually appealing. The game will stress your computer if you don't have a really up-to-date computer. especially in high populated towns and even more in PvP. This can cause a lot of stress during PvP because you can't hit anyone because you're lagging. I'm not marking the game down because it looks great, but it is something I wanted to note. Alright, it's story time. Now the story in TERA isn't anything unique, it's practically races banded together to defeat evil. Two ancient titans, Eren and Shara, entered into formless voids and for reasons we can only guess, fell asleep. The titans started dreaming and created the world TERA, and it had 12 godlike races on it. The gods began fighting. Titans then dreamt up mortals which were caught in the crossfire of the fighting gods. The gods killed each other and left the mortals by themselves. Some races were wiped out and some arose. Okay, so here's where it kind of starts to get a little bit ridiculous. A metallic race from the underworld called Argons arise to take over TERA. Now all remaining races must band together to defeat the new enemy. As you can see from that, pretty basic storyline, nothing special. I personally don't play MMOs for the story, unless it has cutscenes complete with voice acting like SWTOR for example, only because I enjoy more getting the best loot, PvPing, doing dungeons, and grinding. TERA's storyline doesn't sound intriguing anyways to play through it again to listen to it all. Oh wait, did I say listen? My mistake. TERA's storyline is explained through quest text. There are cutscenes, but they never explain much, so if you want to follow the story, you have to read all the main quest text. And while you're doing that, I'll be working on getting the best gear in the game. As for side quests, well, XP grinders really. The quests are uninteresting, cut and dry escort quests, kill and fetch quests. There is no originality, so you're never gonna go, oh, this is cool. Instead, it's more like, kill whatever number more wild boars. I think that's enough of the quest banter. Let's move on to voice acting. The script is so incredibly cheesy.
Probably wish you were still chasing piglings on the Island of Dawn. What? You expected a parade? Kids these days, no sense of proportion.
The voice acting doesn't give it much justice either.
By the Titans, that island is huge.
Alright, enough picking on the voice actors of this game. Let's move on to the meat and bones. Where it really stands out, it's combat. Now if you're an avid MMO player or an MMO jumper, you have been faced time and time again with tab targeting combat. What I have to say is, suffer no more. You have complete control over your character. It's not as you're commanding a robot, but now you have to aim your abilities on auto attack so that they actually connect with your opponent. This opens a whole new world for PvP, where epic battles ensue between even two people. High-paced action when you're on the tip of your seat, where an archer is trying to keep his distance while the slayer is trying to close the gap. Then they become in melee range and the archer has to use his evade mechanics to dodge the slayer's high damage charged attacks, jumping away, placing traps to slow the slayer while the slayer is trying to get the archer in his crosshairs. The combat was something so unique to North America at the time, and it was something that kept people playing for a long time because it was fun and challenging to PvP. Now you see this trend of completely free combat and it's great. This is a good time to segue into PvP. Since the combat is so awesome, it makes PvP even more fun. There are pretty basic PvP modes like Deathmatch, Defend the whatever it may be, and Guild vs Guild, but it also has open world PvP. Now I myself did pick a PvP server, which meant anyone could kill you anywhere, so you always had to watch your back and be wary of who is near you. As for PvE servers or whatever other server there are, I don't know if open world PvP applies there, but I doubt it. You definitely should pick a PvP server. Fair warning though, you will get pissed off at a random asshole that kills you for no reason. But it's a beauty and a curse. Now if you're a little bored one day and you decide to PK some low level, congratulations on being wanted for murder. That is right, if you PK an innocent, you better watch your back because now you have infamy. You can only lose infamy by waiting for it to diminish. But In that time, you'll be marked as a PKer. And if you thought it was annoying getting killed by random people for no reason, and how it was open season, well, now you're a red flashing beacon of PKing fun for anybody. That's right, anybody can kill you with no consequences. Some guy 20 levels higher than you sees you have infamy, he can kill you and no one would even bat an eye. He gains no infamy. I personally like this kind of bounty hunter lawman deal. It's like a mini game mode where you hunt down people who PK innocents. Then again, you can also be that guy PKing innocents. It goes both ways and it's fun both ways. Now, I'm not sure how many people enjoy crafting or professions in MMOs, but I do. I like scavenging for supplies and making potions and armor out of it, but I'll try to keep this short. To start out, crafting is a little complicated in TERA. It will take a while to get used to. I, for one, did armor crafting, and you have to buy molds, and you also have to collect ores, smelt them into bars, and collect runes. There are a ton of different runes and different tiers which take a long while to accumulate unless you have a lot of gold, of course. Crafting is very rewarding because you can make a ton of gold off crafting. For example, health pots are rare, which makes them extremely expensive in the auction house. Now, unlike other games, in TERA you can craft better items than you can get from dungeons. In fact, the best gear you can get can only be crafted, and then it even takes a month of non-stop playing to accumulate all of the materials you need to make the Vision Maker gear. Sadly, crafting is about the only thing that will keep you playing after 60. If you even care about it in the first place, after level 60 there are about 7 dungeons required for level 60 and a few harder versions of previous dungeons recommended to level 60s with well-equipped gear. So this might keep you entertained for a bit, but it won't last. And sadly, as awesome as the PvP may be, it won't keep you pulled into the game to sign on every day just to PvP. You'll find a new MMO and begin grinding hours into that. Now, this review might seem to be taking TERA out to be a bad MMO, which this is not. I had a ton of fun playing TERA with my friend, and I don't regret a minute of it. And I do have many things I dislike about the game as a whole. The things I like about it outweigh the bad. When I was playing TERA, I didn't think about a lot of the bad stuff until I stopped playing it, looked back on it, and saw why I stopped. TERA is a great MMO experience and there's a lot of fun to be had. Overall, I find the game to be a 7 out of 10. I felt this was a fair score as TERA is definitely above average, but seeing as really only the combat and PvP kept me interested, I couldn't give it much more than that. It looks great and there's a huge world to explore. Not only that, but this game undoubtedly deserves to be played until max level. Thanks for watching. This is actually the first review I've ever done, and I'm just kind of learning the criteria that I want to do right now, just kind of experimenting with what I can do. I might have gotten a few points wrong. I just need to improve on how I set things up and how I get my information and how everything happens. So hopefully soon I'll review another game. I don't know if it'll be an MMO or what, because I do want to review other single player games, but MMOs I play a lot and I have a lot of opinions about MMOs and what I think is good and bad about them. So thank you guys for watching again, and I'll see you guys later.